guys, welcome to another video, and this is some philosophy. Woo! Anyway, some of you are into it, some of you are not. Feel free to stay, feel free to go. I'd like you to stay though. Okay, I just wanted to share a few thoughts. There's a lot happening in the world. That's why I read out that prayer, because I spent most of the night last night singing hymns because I needed to. Lots happening in the world. I'm a person that cares too much. And so I needed some hymns because I was suffering inside. Not just for my situation, but for everyone's situation. So guys, I prayed for you all. Even you guys that don't say you have any problem or need, I've prayed for you. Yes, I know that this is crooked compared to my shelf, okay? Like, thank you for pointing that out, because now we've had a discussion. I'm going to get my own way now. It's going to get repositioned. Because I asked that, and Sarah's like, oh, and I understood it's a big effort, right? We've got to unplug the bit, patch it up, paint it so it's all perfect, and then reposition it and put a new hook up. And these walls are different to most of Australia because it's a apartment, it's not brick. Anyway, so thank you. Because I feel like I'm getting my own way. Poor sir. But you're so right. It was doing my head in. Any other OCD, or did you find that just, it's annoying me? And also, I love your horses, Sammy. Like, it just melts my heart when I see a horse. It gets me emotional. It makes me want a hobby farm. Anyway, I don't want to make this just about my struggle in this world. As you guys know, I've always tried to keep my channel like, I'm a representation of all of you. I'm a representation of the world. I'm a representation of human. I'm not anything special, unique. Well, I guess we are all unique, but you know what I mean. I'm not better than anyone else. And I want the world to be a better place. And we know that there's a lot of wars going on, and there always has been. And we know that the theme is always Christianity, religion. They don't like us. You don't have to be religious to listen to this talk. I would love for people just to open their mind. And you can think of it as spirituality. You can think of it as just there's a higher power. None of it bothers me at all. You could be an atheist and go, I don't believe that bit, but I'm going to listen to that bit. All good. Okay, you are welcome here. But I was reflecting this morning on things that I see as social effects on my family. So when I was a child, compared to, see, I'm going through my own conflicts of struggles as an adult, and of course I reflect from my episodic memories due to my autism and my ways of communicating. The way I compute things in my head and the way I express things in words is through episodic memories. So I said to Sir this morning, after dealing with all of my difficulties yesterday, in coming to terms with the fact that there is like a genocide situation, and we are being neglected if you have a genetic syndrome. There's no help for us. They're letting us just have no medical care as an adult, guys, which means they don't want us to thrive, survive. And look, if you've got a genetic syndrome that's not affecting you bad, you're very blessed, because a lot of us are very, 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 very sick. We don't get equal medical rights. It's a fact. I've proven it in human rights. 12 breaches plus, because I could go and do more, but I can't be bothered fighting a corrupt system, so I don't bother fighting them. Well, that's not completely the truth, but I don't bother with certain things, but I do bother with other things that I know are going to work and be effective to get my medical rights met, my health to be safe, for me to live the longest life, because I deserve it. You deserve it. So when I've thought of all my woes, because I had a meeting yesterday with, like they're just professional advocates, right? The best in Perth kind of a thing. Separate to my disability lawyer and her team, because they are wonderful. They're just underfunded, naturally, because they want us all just to, disability people, they don't want us. And we all know it, we all feel it, we all go through it in some shape or form. The world's not built for us. And the funny thing is, after all of the prayers, I thought I would be dreaming wonderful things because I really felt connected with God last night. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh, I dreamt of all my sins. So I guess that's my lesson. Obviously, I have a lot of things to repent. That's okay. We all do. And I think I owe God that, because I tell you what, God has provided for me. I mean, I can complain about a lot of things, but God has provided for me every step of my life. When I have fallen to the point where it's like I'm a goner, I'm gonna die, like I'm not gonna make it through, and boom, an angel pops up, my life turns around, and it's a hallelujah moment, isn't it? And when you sing that song, you cry, because you think of all those moments that you thought, I'm a goner, like this, I'm not going to recover from this. And I said that to Sir yesterday, because we were so emotional and tearing, crying, and because we know that the system is trying to kill me. We know that. I have a genetic syndrome. They don't care to fix us. They want to abort us. They don't want us here. We're expensive. We're annoying. There is no such thing as care anymore. There is no such thing as religious people going, humans are humans and they deserve to live regardless of whether they are sick and what we consider to be some kind of burden or that kind of thing. So we've lost that society. I'm not saying they don't exist. There's a lot of you Christians out there, and a lot of people who aren't Christians who believe in those things. I just want to point that out. A lot of you atheists are very good people. Don't you think that I don't know that? Okay. So basically, I thought, okay, let me just think about things. What did my family go through when I was a child? Well, I had a wonderful uncle that was in foster care at Parkerville in Perth for many years with very troubled teenage boys. And he was wonderful with that. Then he went to the prisons for children and worked with them there to turn their lives around. And he had the knack. Boy, did he have the knack. In Denmark, he used to run, it's a corner. My grandfather bought half of Denmark in the town. And anyway, on the corner was a deli. Now it's a cafe because it's becoming a little posh. Not saying it wasn't before. I mean, Denmark has always been, for Australia, I don't know if you know Australia, but there's normally quite bogany. Like Albany's bogany. Guys, you all know it. I'd love to live in Albany, don't get me wrong. I'm not against you guys. I'm just saying you're very bogan. And then Denmark's hippie. Okay, it's just what it is, and surfers and stuff. It's just how it is, right? And conservationists. I love that Denmark. I love the teaching of how to think in a conservationist way. So in a hippie way, and I guess that's what I'm trying to point out is self-sufficiency. The reason that they wanted to hold on to that, all of those types of minded people, was because of exactly what's going on now. Things cost a fortune like in food. But if you know how to cook, it could literally give your family more nourishment for $1 than if you don't know how to cook. That's just a simple example. Do we know how to farm? We've lost that. We all used to be. If you look at your ancestors, everyone used to be farmers. They all had their homesteads. They all had to run their own everything. The women would make the butter. The women would make the bread. The men would farm. You know, is it tilling? I don't know, like going over the things and planting all of the food and watching over the food from the bugs and this. And it was the simple life. And we gave that up for this hectic, busy life. And I personally, it's up to you what you want to believe. I personally think that's the wrong direction. I don't think it's healthy. It's not sustainable. If it was sustainable and not hurting anyone, I'd say this is fantastic. But I've seen it hurt too many people, and it's not sustainable. It's not. In fact, it's causing the reason for them wanting to depopulate us a little bit by not giving all of us healthcare, because they can't. Also, they don't have educated people anymore in professions. That's just dwindled in my country. I'm sorry, but we are not raising children that are actually going into high professions, let alone moderate professions, let alone the low-end professions of, skills. So they're all valuable as each other. You can't tell me a plumber is not just as valuable as a lawyer. They are. But the fact is, we have lost the independence though. Oh no, I can't do this. I have to get someone in to do that. But do you? Could you learn? I know when we had our house, we tiled, our own laundry floor. Both of us never done it before. I was real nervous. I was like, but we studied it. We asked the right questions in purchasing it from the people that sell it and that know about how to use it. But then I think back to my uncle burnt out in those professions naturally. It's very common. If you are in the trenches of anything in social welfare, you burn out. So he went to the prong-ups. Self-sufficiency was key down there. It was everything. Everyone was doing it. It wasn't just like Denmark where it was a bit of this and a bit of that, and some families were just normal families doing normal, jobs and things like that, and it just wasn't. Someone wasn't always into conservation or a hippie or anything like that. They were just good people, and that was kind of the town's rule. Is we need to be of high standing with each other. We need to respect each other, and I think that's a beautiful thing that I'm sad that my children didn't get to experience. I didn't get to be able to provide that for them because it didn't exist. But basically, when I think of prong-ups and me living there with my uncle and auntie, and we had it's a self-sufficient home. We had to light the fire to have a bath. And I used to think, oh my gosh, in my head I'm thinking, is this child abuse? Is this child abuse? I'll light a fire just to have a warm bath. I'm a child. It's a right. You think of the Amish. If I said that to an Amish kid, they'd go, come on. If you can light a fire, you can get your own bath ready, and then you can get in your bath and you can deal. It's true. But when I look now, I've had many materialistic moments, guys. Nothing beats that. Getting up in the morning and running out, and we had a beautiful view of the Sleeping Lady, which is the Stirling Ranges, but we called it the Sleeping Lady. I didn't even know. People used to say Stirling Ranges. I go, where's that? Never heard of it. We don't have Stirling Ranges in WA. What are you talking about? Oh, the Sleeping Lady. Oh, sorry. Anyway, we had a beautiful view, and we could just see her, and she was sleeping all the time. And, you just walk out there, and even as a kid, I remember just in awe of looking at this beautiful rock and just going, it's amazing. It's amazing. And just the wildflowers and wildflower season, and making go-karts and making up our own language in a border. We had a border control, weird games like that. That was my idea, I think, because coming back from South Africa, and, I was at the age of expressing myself more, and particularly with my cousin, because we grew up together. I was there pretty much from the day he's born. He was my little baby. So we were like brothers. And, the memories I have there, and coming in, and my auntie is on those old-fashioned stoves that are also heating the house because it's freezing in prong-ups. It's freezing. She's just baked bread. It's for lunch, she wasn't really good at baking, and her scones were rock cakes, but that's another story. Anyway, and coming in and having fresh cream and jam on just bread and just weird things like that, right? And it was just, that's my best memories. And then we had a sawdust toilet, and it was a big joke with my uncle to us kids, like the pie cost will get you if you don't go to the toilet, and if you have to go after 7:30 p.m, the pie cost will get you. And I'm like, it took years. I'm talking years before I said, because apparently the other kids knew, my cousin and my brother knew, and I said, what's a pie cost? $1. I was like, that's the cruelest joke on it. I didn't speak to him for probably a week. I was that kind of kid. I was very stubborn. I think he knew I was going to be okay with my stubbornness. He knew that that was going to get me through, because I was like, no, I'm not talking to you. That joke is below the belt. Actually, it's not below the belt. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt so betrayed by my close uncle that I really felt like was a real father figure for a long time. And it was like, no, this is not okay. I'm a child. You're an adult. This is not okay. Autistics and justice and weird concepts of justice as a child. Anyway, it's a sawdust toilet. It's the only toilet I've ever used that doesn't smell. Boom. So anyway, isn't that interesting? But then they had a helicopter and planes fly over and snapshot all of the self-sufficient living in the whole area, including Mount Barker, I think, area and all that. And boom, it was gone. That was the best education years of my life. And if I had the choice and there wasn't government restrictions, I would be living that life. But they got rid of that because they don't want us to have those skills anymore. So that we're dependent on the systems to pay them. So that we're in a system. So that we're in that control system. We're monitored, we're controlled, we're not free. We're not free. And that's why we're all frustrated. And that's why we're all, you know, like, why can't I get this? Because resources are not being given. They've cut resources in everything. They hate Christians. They're trying to create a divide. There is no divide. It doesn't matter the colour of your skin, the generation you come from. There's good and evil in everything and everyone. And that's just the sad thing. But the evil in most of us doesn't come out unless, I don't know, we have to fight off a baddie. You know? But basically, it's a really scary place that we are, because the knowledge we've lost, think of it. Do you know how to bake bread from scratch without looking up a book or the internet? If there was no internet, what would you do? Have you printed it? No. We are just in a dangerous position that we've put ourselves in without having this knowledge. That's why I never listen to a doctor that goes, you shouldn't read about things. Yeah, you should. You should know about your body. You should know about your condition thoroughly so that you can nurse your own body. So that you can also do things self-sufficiently and then only go to a doctor when you need the doctor. They're just egotistical and they want to be the smartest person in the village. It's embarrassing. I would hate to be them. I mean, the desperation to keep this status, it's not going to happen. People are seeing through the cracks of this. Doctors, we should have a video, doctors that say dumb shit. Because there's just so much of it. There's so much, guys, there's so much misinformation I hear from doctors and specialists. I'm not talking about doctors, not GPs. Doctors and specialists at hospitals, it's scary. It's really scary. And people in the rare community know this. Oh, they know this. And anyone in the rare community with an adult child, or you're an adult, you know the reality. Unless you are in a large country and you've got great health insurance, maybe you're having a different experience. So then when I think back to, the wars, and you think, oh gosh, and what's going on here and there, and, I got upset at one point with politics because people were saying, oh, there's no, all these farmers in South Africa being murdered. It's like, yeah, there is. My grandfather's brother and his wife attempted murder on her because she survived. He died. He was a good man. Didn't deserve that. He was good to everyone. It did happen, and it's still happening. Yes, it's blacks hating the whites, but guys, it happens both sides. I'm not about the skin color. I'm about murder is wrong. I don't care what your religion is, what color you are. I don't care. Murder's wrong. War is wrong. They say to us, oh, Dee, you're so bad. Why are you doing wars? Why are you machine gunning down innocent children, men and women who are not part of the war? In this day and age, it's not okay. You got to think about it for a minute. They're a bunch of hypocrites. They hate us. That's why they don't help us. They take our taxes. For all those years we slug it out. I know Sir and I feel so frustrated with, gosh, we were so independent for so long, and you don't feel appreciated. You're told your whole life that you're in the lucky country. Yet you get to, and it's only when you get to major crisis of up health, or you need education for your kids and you can't afford private, or that's the time when you see a society that's just not good enough. In the early 2000s, I took my youngest son out of a public school that was in a good area because things were getting out of control. There was a girl that came to school drunk, attacked the English teacher. That teacher could never come back. She could never come back. She was so traumatized. Then there was I went to the sports carnival. I used to go every year, but this year was different for some reason. And I'm like, there's these kids swearing at teachers and teachers just taking it. And it's like, no. So I spoke to my son about a lot of things. I said, what's going on at school? What's really going on? What goes on in class? What is it like in class? What's happening? He's like, oh, Mum, kids are always mucking around. We never get any work done. And the maths teacher's really the science teacher. I'm not really learning anything. It's frustrating. And he was a gifted kid. That kid was gifted. And what a waste. And, kids are swearing at the teacher, and there's just no control. In every class, I get nothing done. So I took him out of that school and I put him in private. I put him into Peter Moyes, which is an Anglican school, which was next to the senior college that he was going to go to, where his brother was. So, because I was so frustrated. And the deputy's like, why do you want to leave? I said, because you let children swear at teachers. She was older than me. I'm like, do you see something wrong with that? These children, okay, this is middle school up to year 10. These are children. That's why that big W ad, they've taken off that kid going like that. I knew that would happen. There's a hotline, guys. If you ever see an advert that makes you feel that's just not okay, there is, I don't know what they're called, but there is a registration, and if you look online, you'll find it. And you ring them and you say which ad, and you explain why you don't like it, because if enough people call in about certain things that are showing that you think that your minor children or minor family should not see on a daily basis, etc., you can report that. Can we let children have a childhood, please? It's not cute. It's not cool for kids to swear, pull fingers up, or whatever. I know you're thinking you're being the cool parent, but it's not cool. Children need to experience innocence. Why are you taking that from them? That's what you're really doing. You're not making it cool. You're ruining their innocence. Of course they're going to swear with their friends behind your back, but let them do that and still tell them off, because that's what they need. It makes them feel like, oh, I can be rebellious, my mum's back and you can swear. Let them go through that rite of passage in that way. But think in the back of my head, well, my mum has a really high standard of, oh, I shouldn't do that. And that builds that little consciousness. Because does anyone like to be on the receiving end of a bad? No. Now, a lot of us do it, but we're adults and the consequences always come on to us if we do it. Kids don't understand that, and kids' minds can be molded to be that when they want to rebel, it's going to step up. They're going to need to step up, because it's like when they want to shock you, when they want to challenge you as a teenager, they're going to have to step it up. So it won't be swearing and pulling the finger up at you. They'll up it. What does piss mum off or dad off? I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach them. That's what teenagers do. It's normal. It's normal. And if your child rebels, it means they feel safe to do so. Children that don't rebel, give them grace. Those are children normally that have been very abused and they're way too scared to rebel. They don't actually get the rite of passage as other kids do, to just like be a little naughty and get away with it, because there's unconditional love and support regardless. And that's really sad. So please remember the difference. And you X-Gen, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of us in different situations in the X-Gen. It was brutal. And I don't want X-Gen parents to feel guilty here, by the way. If you didn't do crossing the line abuse, then smacking and all of the wooden spoon was normal. Okay, we are not scarred. As you see, we are tough cookies, and we are backing you guys up in, maybe we should bring it back. Maybe. I think a lot of teachers would agree with me on that one. And bedtime needs to come back, and just there's so many things, guys, that just, they're simple, but we're raising wolves if you don't change that. And then it's our responsibility to learn how to bake bread, to learn how to grow potatoes, to learn how things work, instead of just turning to the systems, because if we lose that as an art, we lose humanity's if you are an evolutionist, then you should be really into this compared to even a Christian, because Christians are already into this, because we're already prepping and we're already doing those things. We've been doing those things for years because of all things. It could be war, there could be natural disasters, it could be anything. Okay, we've always been like that. But I'm just saying, even you guys, that it is definitely necessary to protect yourself by having that knowledge, making sure your children have that knowledge. We lose that knowledge, that's not a good position to be in. Because that means you're codependent with the government. And if you are very, very sick and you're not getting the resources, they've taken the resources from us on purpose. Survival of the fittest, eh? It's in action. And basically, we have to just do our best with what resources you can get hold of. I personally know that Jesus will take me when he's ready. I don't believe that it is all to do with what the doctors do or don't do with my health for my condition. That's my faith. Everyone's different. Some people might believe just in fate, it's your time when it's your time. But I worry about the loss of, I've had so many people say, oh, you guys can sew, you guys can cook from scratch, you guys can, and it's like, what? But then again, I go, oh, I've got so many X-generation people in my life I've known. I'm like, they can't cook, they can't sew. And I think, that's not good. But we were just blessed because Sir and myself were raised in households where that was, no, don't be stupid. You got to learn to sew. You need to sew that yourself as a child. Cooking, it's like, well, you know, I'm in a line of good cooks. It was really intimidating. And then getting a recipe, good luck. It's a dash of this and a bit of this and a bit of that. What? I need specifics. Okay, I'm also like, number one, autistic, OCD, and I just, you know, me with my dyspraxia, if I put in just a dash of flour that's meant to be half a cup, it'll just be like, great, that's like 5 cups, and I don't think the bread's going to come out the same. So just consider that. I think that being prepared for anything that comes our way, whether it's third world war, whether it's, you know, natural disasters, or just burden of too much demand on resources and the resources aren't available, we do need to be prepared to know what to do, know how to function with old skills that need to be not old skills, they need to be skills again. Sewing, cooking, growing fruits and vegetables. Even if you've got a balcony, you can grow fruits and vegetables, and you can. And I'm not saying you all have to go out and do that. I'm just saying this is just a reality of, it's free will. You can just ignore being prepared for anything possible and just live out your life, and you might be totally fine. It is just everyone's free choice on what they want to do, how they feel. You don't have to be prepared. You don't have to want to do those things. And then if you do those things, I think that, well, that's your choice as well. Either which way, it is people's choice. But the fact is, I personally, if I look at this from a psychology perspective and a philosophy perspective, and you look at history, I think history is always a good predictor of the future. Dr. Phil frickin' says that he's an idiot. He's an idiot, but he at least gets that bit right. Like, not exactly though, but history repeats itself. And it is repeating itself. It just looks different because it's 2025. So please just understand poverty and what it looked like in the 1900s-ish, around all those times, looks different to now. There's a difference in what poverty looks like, and it's deception. So you're thinking there's no poverty. They choose to be homeless, and there's no poverty. There is a lot of poverty. Think of just a lot of us on here who are saying, I'm a public patient, I can't get medical care because I'm expensive, I need a lot of big things done that costs a lot of money, and they don't want to. Don't say some of us aren't poor in a first world country, because it is happening. It is real. It is the truth. And this is the sad fact. You can't prep for that. You can't learn to be a doctor and fix yourself, but you can, I guess, eat healthy, try and live a good lifestyle, look after yourself the best way you can, mentally and physically. But yeah, I just want people to consider, like, have I lost too much of skills? Maybe just not watch Netflix and try a new recipe. Maybe just not watch Netflix and go, maybe I could just grow one thing that I can eat and see how it goes. It might just give you that sense of accomplishment, which a TV show can't give us, you know? And we always used to live as a kid. This is what they used to do. I swear they used the blackouts, as in the power outages, as an excuse. But, you know, all in the prom grass, we would be sitting under candlelight. I mean, that's pretty much how we, you know, because I think like the generator and all these other things or whatever was operating there was all off by a certain time of night. TV was very limited and only ABC and only this show or whatever. And I wonder if that little existence down there never stopped, what it would be now. We lost our culture down there. And I know that there's a lot of people that still live there or are back in Perth, but they remember. And it's gone. A lot of us souls stay in touch, and a lot of us will sometimes, you bump into people. Like, I get excited if I just see a car with a Denmark license plate. I'm like, oh, they live on my land. It's not my land, it's everyone's land, but you know what I mean. And just try something new. And particularly if you've got kids, self-sufficiency in, oh, that's happened to that piece of clothing, let's sew it and fix it ourselves and make it kind of fun, so that they have skills. That it just saves you money, it just saves you hassle of going and buying another, I don't know, say if it's a pair of jeans that need to be mended in a certain way, it might save you going and buying a new pair of jeans. Try and reduce the materialism in the sense of being the focus. It's not bad to have materialistic things. What's bad is idealizing that as being, that's what life is about, or that's what's most important to me. That's not a good mindset to have, right? But learning skills, knowing skills, sharing skills. So if you already know how to sew and cook, teach your son and your daughter, not just your daughter, teach your son as well. And maybe if you've got kids, grow something that they can eat, so they can enjoy that thrill of, I planted it with my bare hands and then I'm going to eat it. There's many things to do. And science projects at home are just, in my eyes, my uncle used to use it with us to open our minds to the fact that his philosophy to teach us was, if you don't see it and do it yourself, how do you know it's real? If you see it on TV or you read it in a book, but how do you know it's real until you've done it yourself? If you haven't done it yourself, that could be a lie. It's a good way to be. So I often do test things out in that way. And yes, I think doing basic science experiments, showing them how amazing electricity is, how hard it is to create one little light bulb to light up. Take them to, there's a lot, I know we've got SciTech in Perth. I don't know if you've got a science place for kids. Wonderful place to start, especially if a lot of kids are city kids these days and they don't understand. But these things is setting them up for, they can learn how to learn from this. They can be more critical thinkers of, hey, I could go buy this, but I could also make this. You want to raise a generation that is safe. If things went away, if resources were scarce and we don't have all this, stuff available at the shops just like that, you need to be able to provide for yourself, whatever that item is. Think about that. Those professions, I remember looking at this history thing of British history, which I watch, and this guy was, it was about the oldest surnames that are pretty much don't exist anymore. And there was hat makers, and they had a surname that came from the original hat makers in London, and it was like, wow, a hat maker's not needed anymore. So, there's all these skills, and it wasn't that was the focus for me. What I was thinking was, wow, we all go into a profession, but it's like we should be everything. We should be looking at everything. We shouldn't just be going narrow-minded, going to be on that only. It's great we all got a talent in a certain area, and that's great. That's going to help each other, right? We all share our talents together. We become another community thing we're lacking though. But basically, we should branch out and know more about everything. And I guess that's the message today, is reconsider what you know and what you need to learn about, because being narrow focused, it's very easy to focus on things we love, but focus on things that unnecessary. It might become essential for you to know to save money for your family, for yourself, and for yourself to get by in a economy that might get tougher, harder, more expensive food. And if you learn to cook better, that's going to help you save a lot more money. At least that's a start. But think of the possibilities out of that could even be bigger than that. I mean, it's never ending where you can challenge yourself. It all depends on what you want and what you believe in. Personally, I think that being prepared is just a common sense, sensible thing to do. It's a bit like that meme that was going around as soon as Facebook begun, and it was pretty much my generation and older. There was a meme that was sent around. It was very popular that said, and it had this old-fashioned 1960s wife and husband, and the husband is saying to the wife who's reading the newspaper, "Don't worry, the government will help us." And we all laughed at it because we all knew it wasn't true. It's cognitive dissonance is going on, basically. We all know things aren't right, and I think that it's hypocritical for the government to be angry at violence when they actually don't be tough on crime and they do war. But on individuals who are just, imagine all the poor husband and wives screaming at each other, and they call that DV because they can't put food on the freaking table. It's too expensive. They can't keep the rental because it's now $1,000 in Perth for a 4x2 rental for them and their children. There's 70 to 150 people at a home open to rent a house in Perth. Those people are suffering. That's human suffering. It's not DV. DV is causing grievous bodily harm. So there's a lot of mistruths. There's a lot of just dramatization in the media. This is not. Just think for yourself. Analyze, critically think. And you Christians, just stay safe out there and know that I know the challenges that we're all going through. We've been asked to do this regardless of how hard it gets. And we will be rewarded one day for that. We have to love our enemy as well. And that sucks. I know. It's really hard. That's the hardest bit. But he wants us to do what he did. And it does bring you peace to think like that and to get to that. It does. So maybe he's doing that to bring you peace. I don't know. I'm not Jesus, but just critically think, challenge, and try something new. I'm thinking of trying crocheting, but don't get excited because I have a lot of learning disabilities and it's going to be tough. But I'm gonna see my nana. I'm going to see if I can crochet. She was amazing. I've got a lot to live up to, but let's see if I can do it. I don't know what I'm setting myself up. I'll probably failure. I'm not good at failing. I'm a perfectionist and I don't like failing. I'm the kind of perfectionist that says, I'm not going to try it at all because I'll fail. It's pathetic. I'm stubborn and we all have our bad traits, don't we? But yeah, I'm going to give it a go. So let me know if you're inspired to try a new skill that you have maybe known before or never known before, because I've inspired you to pick up an old skill that needs to come back so that you can learn it, so you can teach the next, so that people don't have to be broke. They know how to cook beautiful meals and live wonderfully without struggling so much by having to buy more expensive food or unhealthy food. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you like this talk on the world around us and the philosophy. There's so much more branching out I could have done on all of this, but we don't have time. And really, I kind of wish it was a group of people with me sitting talking at the same time, because I think there's a lot of people that could add to this, more than just myself, because a lot of us know a lot, and when you put people together, that's the amazing thing, is more ideas get put out there, more perspectives, more critical thinking can go on, more challenging of like, but is that a good idea, or that kind of thing. So anyway, it's a shame, isn't it? You know, this internet isolates us. Remember that. Okay, so make sure you go out there and be part of that world, but be safe. Don't go to crowded events and stupid, yeah. Anyway, take care, and I will see you in another video soon. Well, every day. You know, you see me every day. It's probably like, oh, here she is again. What is she doing now? She being a drama queen today? When I'm in pain. Yes, I'm dramatic, but I am dealing with life and death every day, so that's brutal. So just, for me, Christian hymns are my way out of it. But otherwise than that, the Rainbow Connection, the choir one, Kermit the Frog, the real Kermit the Frog on stage, awesome. Or just comedy, guys. Just comedy is dying out, because you can't say that, you can't say this, and you can't. Keep laughing. Love you. Bye.